from the Gold Coast. Here we're experiencing an absolutely gorgeous day for those people that don't know what beautiful part of the world I'm in. I'm from Australia and I live on the Gold Coast, which is a very beachy sort of California type suburb here. We're just waiting for a tropical low to come down the coast in the next couple of days, so it's a little bit unsettled here at the moment with the sun going in and out. So I hope it's beautiful wherever you are in your special part of the world. And I'd like to thank everybody that messaged in and said congratulations on my first show last week. It really did mean a lot to me. And it's really nice to know that we can connect and hold hands all the way around the world. So my main objective of bringing you this show every week is to sort of enlighten you and share with you some of the things that I've learned along the way in my journey in over 40 years in being a psychic and an astrologer. And here in Australia, I've been inducted into the Psychic Hall of Fame, and for the third year in a row now, I've been crowned the Psychic of the Year here. So they're nice accolades to have, but I think the most important thing is the people that I've met along the way. And one of the things that has really become very important, I believe, in the last few years is we all head on this journey together of enlightenment, spirituality, whatever label that you want to put on it. I call it self-improvement, because I think we can always be looking to improve ourselves and try and make this world a little bit better place to live in so that we can all share in the rewards. It's not just for a select few. And, you know, yes, some of us are chosen to be better than someone else in certain areas of work or enlightenment, but that doesn't make us any better person than the person next to us. I've just been blessed with, I suppose, knowledge that I can help and share along the way with the people that I've met on my special journey. So this week we're going to be talking about the new moon in Aries. Now, the new moon in Aries is a very significant new moon for the beginning of the astrological year. The astrological year always begins somewhere between the 19th and about the 22nd of March every year. It symbolises the beginning of the astrology year. Not the new year, not the Chinese New Year, it's our astrology new year. So the very first moons that we have in this new cycle are always really important, signify change, signify the newness that's coming into our life. And it's great to see that you are ready to embrace the new opportunities that are coming our way. And people often ask me, look, I know my star sign. I read my astrology in a magazine or a newspaper or online. But how do these moons affect me? Well, in very, very general terms, I'd like to share with you the new moon means the following. The new moon means new beginnings, new opportunities. It's a time to sort of set some positive intention. Now, some people like to have a vision board. Some people like to set their intention and light it under their favourite candle. Some people just like to put it on their phone. It's whatever works for you. And I think that's the message that we need to convey a fair bit more when it comes to enlightenment and spiritual journeys and opening ourselves up, is it's not one size fits all. Everything is about what suits you, what feels comfortable with you, what resonates with you. And particularly more so now than ever, now that we're heading into we're in the middle of the very first new moon for the year, which is Aries. So the Aries energy is about me first, it's about fire, it's about determination, it's about excitement, it's about let's dive into the swimming pool, let's get started, let's start that running race, let's start all these new projects that have been swimming around in our mind for a while. And a number of you will say, I have made major changes or major transformations in the last 2 weeks. You know, some people may have changed jobs, changed relationships, just let go of a lot of old issues, a lot of things that were swimming around in their mind from the past, and feeling like you've shed this tremendous weight. It's like I've removed a lot of psychic baggage away from me, or just a lot of emotional baggage out of my life. And this is exactly what we should have done. So it's the perfect time for those of you that were fortunate enough to start new opportunities in the last 2 weeks. It's certainly been the most perfect time to be able to sort of stepping out, doing something new, and in engaging with people in a fresh, new, innovative approach. So it's really an exciting time for us in the next 2 weeks. Even though the full moon only goes for approximately 2.5 days, I like to work with the energy for the whole 14 days, because I feel when the new moon is at its intensity like it is at the moment, this is when all the emotional stuff comes to the surface that we need to process, deal with, let go, look at, embrace, invigorate, whatever the case may be. But then as it peters, as it winds down and we start to feel more comfortable with that energy, that's then when I think we can take the action that's necessary. That's when we can say, okay, these are the decisions that I've made. Now I'm going to start putting those into practice. So it's really, really important that we don't rush sometimes these cycles that come in for us, because we are impatient as human beings, and I feel we need to sometimes just take a deep breath, exhale, relax, and just go with the flow, and know that we are always on the right track. I don't believe anything that we do in our lives is ever a mistake. It's just that we've decided to take a detour and take the more scenic route to our destination, because the decisions that we make at this given second are usually the decisions that we felt the most comfortable with, or the only decision we could make at this point in time with the knowledge and the resources that we have. So therefore, it can never be a mistake. In 2 days' time, we may view the situation differently. So again, we're putting ourselves back into the now of how would I now make a decision, or how would I change something. So therefore, I don't believe we make mistakes. I think it's all part of our learning curve, and it's all part of our growing and our soul's growth as well, because just because the physical body grows and we go through the linear years of time, our soul also grows too over many, many lifetimes. And that doesn't necessarily mean when someone tells you you're an old soul, does that make you superior to somebody that's a new soul? The answer is absolutely not. It just means that you're at a different stage of evolution. And even some of the people I've been fortunate enough to meet and work with in my lifetime that are what I consider brand new souls can sometimes bring a wisdom with them of freshness, of a different perspective, a different way of looking at things, because they're not so bogged down by being conditioned to believe and work in a certain way. So there's really nobody that has any more knowledge and power or insight than the next person. So please, we are all equal. It doesn't matter what walk of life you've come from. You may have come from very fortunate, affluent family, and other people may have come from a very poor family, but it doesn't make you any better than a person. So we're going to sort of take our first caller, I feel now. We've got Kathy in St. Louis, Missouri. Welcome, Kathy. How can we help you today?
Hi, how are you? I had a question. I'm going to be moving out of state, and this is going to take me away from my family. I actually did that before, but it was with my husband. We are no longer together. But I'm going to be moving back, and I'm worried that, I might fight with my family because of this. And then my parents, they're in bad health, so I'm not sure if I should put it off for a little bit.
Okay, Kathy, the first thing I was being shown, and I felt as you were starting to explain to me what your question was I felt we've got to slow this down a little bit. I think it's one of those situations where I want to say to you, take more than one deep breath, maybe take half a dozen, and let's slow this right down, and let's look at how this is not just going to affect you, but the whole of your immediate family. Your husband, your immediate family, and then we can ripple effect out to everyone else. But
I'm no longer married. That's how I came to be there years ago, was moving a job transfer from my husband many years ago, and I moved back home in 15, and I'm going to go back. And that's kind of the main issue, I guess. I'm just worried about the other things.
Okay, I still feel that you need to slow this decision down a little bit. I don't believe that you've completely 100% made this decision out of your heart. It's like your heart and your head are in a little bit of conflict here. I appreciate that this location that you're in now is not where you want to be, but I just sort of feel we still need to give it a tiny bit more time, whether it's another month, another 6 weeks, and things will become a lot clearer that this is the direction that you need to go. I do feel that there is a change coming. I feel around June is when the final decision will be made. There will be an opportunity there for a job. I feel you'll have a job to go to, not just going there without employment. But I also sort of feel as if there's question marks about whether I want to return to where I grew up, where my family is. It's like one part of me says yes and another part of me says, am I making the right decision by going back to where I once left? And I think that's your major decision. And I just don't feel that it's necessarily right or wrong at the moment. I just want to see you sort of not rush this. It's like there's been so many changes in this last 18 months. And it's like you are a little bit tired. And I just want to see you have a little bit of a rest. And just by having a little bit of a rest and not sort of forcing yourself to make a decision, you'll find things will come in and out of your mind, and out of that will come the clarity that you've been seeking. You know, you're a person that is very logical, but you're also a person that's very aware and very tuned in to how your tummy feels, you know, whether it's churning or whether it's excited or whatever. And it's like trying to marry those two sides of your intuition together. And that's where I think you've been in a bit of conflict. But I do feel that what I'm seeing is I think you're going to go back to a location that's close to where you called home. But I don't know that it's necessarily the same location. It's like I'm a little 20 miles away from there. Is there another town or another area?
There is around St. Louis. There's many. I'm thinking of out of state, completely out of state. I like 350 miles away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, but I'm talking about near where your parents were. Is there another little area or another town or something about 20, 30 miles away from there that's sort of like I've got the best of both worlds?
Oh, yeah, actually there is.
Because that's what I was being shown. Because I'm not in America, I can't sort of say to you, well, it's a such and such town or the such and such location.
Yeah.
But to me, it's what the distance looked to be. And it was sort of like I'm still close enough to everybody that's familiar and things that I know, but it sort of still gives me that fresh start I'm looking for as well. Like, you know, I can be myself, I can be who I want to be. And I feel there, towards the end of this year, Kathy, you're going to meet somebody that's going to be your new life partner. And this will be somebody that you've never met before. And it's a very slow-growing situation. It's a nice friendship and it develops into a relationship. And it's like 20 years ago I wouldn't have looked at this type of person, but now it feels right.
I'm sorry, I'm just kind of flabbergasted.
I didn't hear what you said, sweetie.
I'm sorry. That I'm just surprised. I mean, I know you guys are good, and, you know, but sometimes it just really surprises me.
Why is that? Because you didn't feel you were ready
how
again?
Accurate. You know, and describing me, really. I mean, that was dead on.
Oh, I just saw a new love heart there, and they were showing me someone coming in at the end of the year.
So
with
I
a very
need to keep
strong
an open mind there.
What, darling?
Do I need to keep an open mind? Because I've kind of been closed off in that area.
Yeah, but
in relationship-wise.
Yeah, I understand that, but what they showed me was the love heart, but they showed me around the love heart was a very, very strong friendship to begin with. So maybe that's the way that you can open your heart up, is that you're not necessarily looking for love. Do you know what I mean? You meet somebody you have a comfortable friendship with, and it blossoms from there. Like, it didn't go immediately into a passionate love affair. It was something that I felt really comfortable with this guy, and I don't think he was necessarily looking for love either. It's just you hit it off, you've got a lot in common, you've both had a lot of changes in your life and a lot of heartache too over the years with disappointments with different things, and it's like we just seem to have this bond. And, you know, even if you meet in December, I'm not even looking about the twinkling of romantic arrows flying till at least April or May next year. So you have had plenty of time to really get to know each other in that time. Yeah. And that's good, because I feel that he's made also some very radical changes in his life in the last 18 months. He's made a long-distance move as well, but I also feel that he pruned a lot of other things out of his life as well, friendships and businesses and he's really sort of, he's gone from a very powerful, sort of fast-moving paced life and completely changed that down to now, well, money's not that important anymore. Yes, we need it to pay bills and things like that, but it isn't his God anymore. And that's the sort of, he's found that there's more important things to life than chasing the almighty dollar and keeping up with the Joneses and I think that may have come about for him. There was a number of things that changed in his life, but one of those was a health scare. And it was like that really sat him back on his backside and made him reevaluate the things that were important to him. And, and he says, he's made a complete transformation. And he makes no excuses for the life that he lived. He says, I'm pleased I lived, I can talk about it, but that's no longer who I am. This is why I've made the move and I've made some changes and I just want to enjoy life and I want to stop and smell the roses, which is nice.
That's great.
But I feel the two of you have so much in common. There's just such great communication. And I feel that's one of the things that was very sadly lacking in your life was good, solid, stimulating conversation from your husband. It was like you talked about the things that you never had an adult conversation about world events or things that were important to you. And this is why this situation is so amazing, because right from the word go, the two of you are like two little chatterboxes. You just don't shut up. And that's great. And it fulfills that in both of you that you've both never had before, which is wonderful. And I think that's why love will grow, because you can talk about anything and everything. There's no topic that's, not open for discussion. And, you have such wisdom, and so does he, that, to have some adult conversation and be able to not have arguments, but some, quite passionate discussions, shall we say, about certain topics where you mightn't necessarily see eye to eye, and then all of a sudden you burst out laughing and say, gee, we nearly got into a punch-up over this, what for? We're both just very passionate about the subject. And then, there's no crosswords between you, and I think that's the beautiful thing.
Wow.
So I hope that's helped you, Kathy.
I'm sorry?
Said I hope that's helped you with the reading tonight, Kathy?
Yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely. Wow. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely, 100%.
Wonderful. Well, we look forward to hearing your progress here on the show, Kathy.
Oh, thank you. I keep in touch with you guys all the time, so it's likely.
Good. Well, we look forward to hearing your progress, and I look forward to seeing a little picture of Mr. Perfect when he comes along.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a great night, Kathy.
Bye.
Bye. So it's interesting when we have situations in our lives like Kathy that, do we know whether we're making the right decision, and do we understand why that things we have to make changes in our lives. And sometimes I think those changes are forced upon us, and it's sort of like it can be a slow burn or it can be a lightning bolt change that comes into our lives. So, whatever your decisions are that you're going to be making over these next couple of weeks, whether they're fast or whether they're slow, just take the time to sit with those and not be in too much of a hurry to sort of get it all sorted out, because the Aries energy is pushing you to do so. You can still take your time a little bit. Now, we're going to sort of take our next call, and I have to put my glasses on because I can't read her name, Layla. And Layla is in Columbus, Georgia. Layla, how can we help you this evening, sweetie?
I was just wondering, I lost my brother due to cancer a few months ago, so I was just trying to see is there any message,
Okay, Layla. Look, I'm terribly sorry for your loss. I'm not sure that even though your brother was prepared for what was ahead and he was very much a realist, I'm still not totally sure that he was accepting of it. And that sort of made his transition, shall we say, through to the other side a little bit more tricky than normal, because he hasn't sort of still come to terms with the fact that that was his fate, you know, that he's gone through to the other side. He knows, he's showing me that there's far too many tears have been shed. Now, that's all well and fine for him to say, stop the crying, because, you know, he didn't feel comfortable here on earth with people getting upset and shedding tears. But we all have to grieve in the way that we feel the most comfortable and what is the most natural for us. I do feel that it's still probably a little bit early for him to be making direct contact with you, considering he still seems to be caught up in his own emotions of his own demise and, you know, the illness finally taking his life, which he had this positive attitude in the back of his mind he was going to beat it, even though doctors hadn't given that sort of prognosis. So I feel by the time we get to about July or August, I feel then you're going to really start to feel that he's close to you. At the moment, you sort of feel, well, I don't feel his energy. I don't feel his presence, and that's been upsetting you. I just want to say to you, Layla, he is there. It's just that he hasn't developed yet on the other side to be able to make his presence felt, that you can feel it. But by the time we get to about July, August, September, I feel then you'll have dreams about him, you'll start to see things out of the corner of your eye and you look and then it's not there. Know that that's your brother coming through, trying to make connection with you to just sort of say, hey, sis, I'm here, I'm still here. I do feel, though, that he keeps telling me that there was something that someone was trying to talk to him about in the last couple of days, and they were uncertain whether or not he heard what they were talking about at his bedside. I'm not sure whether it was you or whether it was an older female, because he keeps showing me you, and then he shows me an older female, whether that was your mother or an aunt or something like that. But he's clearly showing me whatever you two women particularly were talking about at his bedside, he heard every word. He may not have been able to react or respond, but he did hear it. And the words were very comforting. Whatever they were very comforting to him and helped him be able to, to make his transition from life to death much easier. That's the way he's showing it to me, that they were very comforting and he took great strength out of that. So I do feel he's always around you. He's showing me a very bright star, and I don't think that's necessarily in the night sky. I think that's going to be a sign or something that you're going to see, or every time you go down to the local shopping centre or something like that, you're going to walk past and stars are going to jump out at you from greeting cards or on posters or whatever. And he's just showing you that that's him and his little practical joke, his little way of getting your attention, that you're still a star in his eyes. So I hope that's helped, Layla.
Appreciate it.
He's still with you, sweetheart. You know, you can talk to him. You know, just because he can't sit down and physically sit down and have a coffee with you here on Earth doesn't mean you can't have a conversation. We learn to communicate in our own way with the people that we love that have gone, you know, before us. You just have to be aware and open to the signs and don't think anything silly. You know, people sort of expect we're going to get this great apparition and they're going to stand at the doorway dressed as we remember them and with a bunch of flowers and say, hello, I'm home. You know, that isn't always the way it is. I remember many years ago when I lost my husband, which was over 30 years ago now, and I was one of those people, I was waiting for this great entrance, you know, because we'd always had this joke, whoever went first would tell the other one what it was like on the other side, and, you know, and he never came back to me, or I believed, for about 12 or 13 years until I went to a medium, and she said to me, but signs come in all different ways. She said, your poor husband's been coming through to you for the last 11 years and you keep pushing him away. And I said, oh, no, I haven't. She said, yes, you have. She said, when he's tried to make a connection with you, she said, you've ignored it. You know, she said, he's turned the lights on and off, he's turned the television on, he's moved the photo frames, you know, he's put things in your path so you trip over it to remind you of him. And he said, you've just ignored them all. And once I started to open up to that, it was easy then to understand what the signs were, that they were very personal for me, things that I would understand, not necessarily what someone else would understand. Some people understand a feather falling from the sky is their loved one in the sky. I tend to call our people that have passed on before us our angels in the sky, because I believe that's what they are. They are always looking over us, and they do care for us. And, you know, when I want to talk to my late husband, I have a little conversation with him before I go to sleep of a night out loud, and I tell him about my day. Even though it's been over 30 years, I still tell him about my day. And I tell him how our children are and what's going on in my life. And I always say to him, if you've got a special message for me, put it in my mind when I first wake up in the morning before I have coffee, before my busy day starts. So, you know, you can sort of set something up like that with your brother. Just takes a little bit of time, and you've just got to believe, Layla.
Yes, I would.
But I know.
I would,
yes, darling?
like, talk to him, you know, here and there. And I know my mom does that a lot, and, you know, it's harder on her.
Have photos around and set a place at the table for a special occasion, even though he's not going to come and eat. Put a plate out, put some food on it. They love to still feel that they're part of our celebrations here on Earth, and that gives them strength to make a stronger connection with us. So, you know, the show's coming to a close, Layla. I really, really do hope that you find some peace, and you will find peace, and just find a different way of celebrating the life that you had, and just look at it as if your brother's here just in a different way, and he can still be part of the family and still celebrate, and he knows everything that's going on, believe me. He does. So I'd like to thank everybody that watched this week on our very second show here with Amanda Hall Psychic from the Gold Coast. I look forward to working with you again next week, so get your questions ready. Each week we'll have a little talk about something on the astrological front and what's happening in our part of the universe, which is very, very special to each and every one of us. You can find my details on the A1R Radio Network if you want to contact me direct for a more detailed reading. My name's Amanda Hall Psychic, and I look forward to connecting with you again next week. Have a very